Hello and welcome to Dreamers and Doers. Be inspired by outstanding women entrepreneurs and dream builders. And so, this is our first episode today. And initially, I thought I'm just going to, warm up the space for my incredible guests starting next week. And then I thought, no, it would be more fun to have somebody else interview me for this episode. And so my beloved husband, he volunteered very graciously. And so let me introduce you to Kevin Stevens.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad to help out. And it sounds like a great series coming. And so I thought I'd interview Karoline first to get it started.
Did you know that you were a dream come true? Or you are?
Oh, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah. And so what prompted me to create the series was that we've been through, or some of us more than others, but through challenging times. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. And so for some reason, I just had this brainwave to create something that's inspiring, that's uplifting, then that gives you hope and gives you the confidence and the belief in yourself that you too may have a dream that's wanting to bubble up to the surface and wants to be realized in this world.
Well, I hear you saying that about creating the dream, but isn't that just reserved for confident people that know what their dream is and where they're going? How does the average person get there?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, because I used to look at people and think, how did they do it? How come they got this amazing relationship and this beautiful home and this flourishing business? And here I was, and that was 2006, and I had actually at the time I had lost everything. Marriage fell apart, lost our family home. Only had a very small business at the time and no money. And so, I wasn't.
You were going through hard times.
Yeah, I was going through a hard time. And I know some of you may be going through a hard time right now too. And it's scary, and at the time I didn't know how I got into this black hole, and I had no idea how to get back out. And so this is when a good friend came to me and he said, Karoline, what you've created is because of your patterns of thinking and your patterns of being. All you need to do is change those and you can create something different.
Now, wait a minute. You're saying that he said patterns of thinking and patterns of being, and that's all you have to do is change those and you're going to get some different results?
Well, that catapulted me on in my journey, to turn my subconscious inside out, because consciously I wouldn't have created what I was experiencing. And so I realized through this process of healing and shifting my thinking and facing my fears that I created this reality. I created it. In fact, I wasn't the victim. I created it, but not by design, but by default. And so as I was changing my thinking, my patterns of thinking, and release those old unresolved emotions, life started to reflect my new patterns back to me,
So by changing the inside, you were able to change the outside.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is when, because I became a more whole, confident, empowered person. And but I was thinking new empowered thoughts, and I was engaging in new empowered actions, and so I got new results.
Well, now in this interview series, are all the women have they all followed that same path?
Well, it's a great question. Is it the same path? I don't know, but what I notice about people who create their dreams is that there's often a moment where they listen to a nudge inside of them, or maybe their life, how they were living it, boom, it's a crossroads, it's not working anymore, and something new is is seeking to emerge. And those women, you know, the women that create amazing things in the world, the ones I'm going to bring in here for you to be inspired by, they listened and went on this path of creating what they would love in their lives. Hi, Amy.
So you think that these ladies are going to share those things with the audience starting next week in your interviews?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're very happy to share their stories. And building your dream is not always a smooth journey. Like when I was still in New Zealand and I created this vision board, and I had my wonderful husband who I hadn't met yet, but he was on my vision board, and my business and living in a beautiful home, etc. And I had to go through an earthquake first, you know, and which was hugely traumatic, but that kind of kicked me out of New Zealand and prompted me to travel. And that's how I then ended up meeting my husband. So
it sounds like sometimes you really don't know where that path is leading you once you start seeking change and really working on change, but it works out for the best.
Yeah, sometimes we don't know where it leads us, but we can create a powerful vision of what we would love. And then we can take step by step, we can start to bridge the gap. And there are methods and there's a system of how we can do this, which is super powerful. And I think what I really would love for you to know is that the purpose of the dream, the way I see it, is to draw more of our potential out and help us to live more as our higher self and our empowered self in the world.
Sounds good. Sounds in both inspiring and empowering.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes, and I don't know about you, you know, the listeners here, we have thoughts of something that we would love to do. But then, you know, sometimes we think, oh man, you know, the thoughts in the head, like the little voice says, who do you think you are that you think you can do that? Or, you know, you haven't been able to do it up until now. What makes you think you can create this? Or, you know, you don't have the education, you know.
Those negatives come up as blocks to keep us from moving forward.
Exactly. And really what they are is just our fears, you know, to step out of the comfort zone, because the dream by definition is outside of our comfort zone.
Well, can the average person, do you think, overcome those fears? I mean, because some of them are really go all the way back to childhood.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing. There are methods and ways and processes how we can repattern our subconscious to bring it more in alignment with who we really are. You know, we all have a story, and I'm sure you have a story and you have a history, but it doesn't need to define us. You know, in the past, I heard this voice. I wanted to learn public speaking. The voice told me, who do you think? People don't want to hear what you have to say, etc. And it took me years until I finally mustered up the courage to follow my dream, you know?
Okay. So sometimes it doesn't come immediately, but once you get started on the path, you can keep making changes in order to accomplish a dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, you know, you don't want to wait many years. You know, there's the voice in our head that says, yeah, wait until later, until the time is right, you know. And so I'd like to encourage you to listen to those nudges, listen to your longing and your discontent, and allow those to speak to you. You know, what is it that you would really love for your life? And let this guide you on this journey.
So what you're saying is, don't miss the transformation train, right? Get to work so that you can make the change.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, it's never too late. Like right now, wherever you're at, it's always the right time, you know, for the next step. And there's always something we can do to move the needle towards the life that we would love to live. Yeah, and so this is why I'm so inspired by the women that are going to join me as my guests. And yeah, because they've dreamt big. And for many of us, sorry, and for many of us, we might have big ideas, but then we allow them to be quenched again, and we shrink away again, and they may just stay as wishes, you know. And so those women, that's why they are so inspiring, is they had a big idea, but they also, that's the doer part, they also went into action and created it, and in the process, you know, faced their fears, faced their insecurities, and faced obstacles, and maybe even some failures, and all this journey led to amazing success and difference making. And I know you're going to be super inspired by it. And also, yeah, I think the invitation is for you to also lean in. You know, what's the next dream that's wanting to be born from you?
So that's why you call the series Dreamers and Doers. That they both dream and then do.
Exactly, because
that's great.
Yeah, because I was in the past, you know, I had lots of ideas and things I would have loved to do, but I was thinking and talking about them, but didn't do the doing part, and so they didn't happen. So yeah, that's really important.
Well, it sounds like a good series coming up. And when is the next interview?
Yeah, so the next interview is on Thursday. So every week on Thursday. So put it into your schedule now. You don't want to miss it. It's 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And next week we have an outstanding entrepreneur and difference maker. She was a divorce attorney for 21 years. And now turned and then created an amazing company, now facilitating and catalyzing amazing healing for individuals and couples. And so how is a transformation like this even possible? So find out next week, 5 p.m. Would love to have you on the call.
Sounds like a great time. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much for being here.
Glad to do it.
All right. Thank you for being here, and we see you next week.